Hello, my name is Linda Fryer. I am the founder and owner of Kellisco Accountants Limited. We are an independent accountancy firm based in Woolerton in East Nottinghamshire. Today's webinar is to review the spring budget from March 2021, looking at the key areas for the micro business and for the individual. I've split today's presentation into 5 areas. Today we're going to start by looking at the business support measures that were announced by the Chancellor. The coronavirus loan schemes, so looking at the CBILS and the business bounce back loan. These are in place until the 31st of March 2021, and these will cease at that point. The budget did announce a new loan scheme to be introduced to replace them when they become to an end. So from the 6th of April 2021, the Recovery Loan Scheme will provide lenders with a guarantee of 80% on eligible loans between £25,000 and £10 million. This is to give confidence in continuing to provide finance to the UK businesses. The scheme will be open to all companies, including those that have already received support under the existing COVID-19 guaranteed loan schemes. The Chancellor also announced Restart grants. Restart grants will be provided in England up to £6,000 per premises for non-essential retail businesses, and up to £18,000 per premise for hospitality, accommodation, leisure, personal care and gym businesses. This will provide the cash certainty needed to plan ahead and safely relaunch trading over the coming months. These will be managed by the local council again. The Self-Employment Income Support Scheme has been confirmed, and there will be a 4th grant for the self-employed, and there will be a 5th grant. Firstly, let's have a look at the 4th grant. This will be 80% of 3 months average trading profits claimed from late April 2021. Payment will be in a single instalment capped at £7,500, and this is to cover the trading period from February to April 2021. The scheme has also been extended to those that have filed a 2019-20 self-assessment tax return before the 3rd of March 2021. This means that many newly self-employed that commenced from April 2019 now qualify if they satisfy the other conditions that remain the same. The 5th and what has been announced to be the final grant can be claimed from late July 2021, and this is to cover from May to September 2021. There has been a turnover test that will need to be enforced to determine whether you are eligible for this grant, and if so, how much. So the grant will be worth 80% of 3 months average trading profits, capped at £7,500, if it is deemed that turnover has fallen by greater than 30%. If turnover has fallen by less than 30%, then the grant will be for 30% and capped at £2,850. No details regarding the basis of the calculation are available yet. Business rates also featured as part of the budget, and the Chancellor has announced the continuation of the 100% business rates relief for eligible retail, hospitality and leisure properties in England through to the 30th of June 2021. This will be followed by a 66% business rates relief for the period from the 1st of July 2021 right through to the 31st of March 2022. Moving on to look at the second section, I'd like to discuss the business taxes. The reduced VAT rate for the hospitality sector has again been considered by the government. So they introduced a temporary 5% reduced rate for specific supplies of hospitality, hotel and holiday accommodation, and that was due to end on the 31st of March 2021. The government has now announced an extension to the reduced rate until the 30th of September 2021. And then to help manage the transition back to the standard rate of 20%, there will be a period where the rate is 12.5%. This will be for the 6 months until the 31st of March 2022. The corporation tax rates had been in the press ahead of the budget, and the confirmation of the final legislation is as follows. The main rate of corporation tax is currently 19%, and it will remain the rate until the 1st of April 2023. At that point, the rate will increase to 25% for companies with profits of over £250,000. The 19% rate will become a small profits rate payable by companies with profits of £50,000 or less. And companies with profits between £50,000 and £250,000 will pay tax at the main rate, reduced by a marginal relief, providing a gradual increase in the effective corporation tax rates. Looking at tax losses, a temporary extension of the period over which businesses may carry back losses has been extended not only to the previous earlier year, but actually to 3 prior years. This will be for accounting periods ending in the period from the 1st of April 2020 through to the 31st of March 2022. Trade loss carrybacks will be extended for the current 1-year entitlement to a period of 3 years, with losses being carried back against last year's first. We've also had the announcement of a super deduction. This is an interesting one. Between the 1st of April 2021 and the 31st of March 2023, companies investing in qualifying new plant and machinery will benefit from a new first-year capital allowance. Under this measure, a company will be allowed to claim a super deduction, providing allowances of 130% on any plant and machinery that would ordinarily qualify for the main rate. And this means that if you spend £10,000 on a van, you will have a tax deductible expense of £13,000. If you spend £1,000 on a laptop, you'll have tax relief on £1,300 instead. We must note that this relief is not available for the unincorporated business. The first year allowances for business cars from April 2021 will see an extension of the 100% first year allowance for zero emission cars, zero emission goods vehicles, and this will be for a 4-year period from April 2021. So if you're tax planning and looking at purchasing of an electric car or van, that is a very important relief. HMRC did confirm that they would make changes to the research and development R&D tax relief. A cap on the amount of the tax credit for the small and medium businesses will be introduced from the 1st of April 2021. Before this cap was in place, it was easy to surrender losses and claim a credit up to 14.5%. There have now been restrictions put in place where we need to look at the wages paid by the company. So the PAYE and NIC contributions will start to factor into the amount of credits available. This is to encourage the use of workers in the R&D sector. If you ordinarily make R&D claims, we need to consider the impact on that changing piece of legislation. Moving on to look at capital taxes. So the capital gains tax rate was confirmed not to have changed. It was thought that maybe CGT was an area that the government would push to increase the rates, and they didn't. The CGT annual exemption, so the nil rate band, that was confirmed as to remain from the 6th of April 2021 at £12,300. And for planning purposes, maybe for landlords, we now know that that rate is going to remain in place for the 5-year period up to and including the 2025-26 tax year. And for inheritance tax planning purposes, the nil rate band has also been frozen at the £325,000 rate that's been in place since 2009. And again, that is going to continue all the way through until the 5th of April 2026. For those of you listening that are employers, let's consider what was talked about in the budget in terms of employment. We'll be pleased to hear as an employer that there has been a further extension of the Job Retention Scheme, the JRS. In the budget, the Chancellor has further extended the scheme right through until the 30th of September 2021. The level of grant available to employers under the scheme will remain the same until the 30th of June 2021. From the 1st of July 2021, the grant level will be reduced and the employers will be asked to contribute towards the cost of furloughed employees' wages. To be eligible for the grant, an employer must continue to pay the furloughed wages of 80%, up to the cap of £2,500, but there will be a reduction in the recovery of the furloughed wages. So for July 2021, the government will support 70% of the furlough wage, and for the months of August and September 2021, 60% of furlough wages will be covered by the government. To remind you, just throughout this whole period of time, employers will need to contribute and fund the national insurance contributions and the minimum automatic enrolment pension contribution as well. The Chancellor also extended the eligibility criteria. So anybody that was on payroll through the period from the 2nd of March 2021 will be able to make a claim from the 1st of May 2021. There was 3 schemes announced for apprenticeships and traineeships. So if you are looking to take on an apprentice or a trainee, then please ensure that you're considering and looking at what support is available. So as an example, employers who hire a new apprentice between the 1st of April 2021 and the 30th of September 2021 will receive £3,000 per new hire, compared with £1,500 per new apprentice hire under the previous scheme. So there is definitely encouragement in this sector. I also want to confirm that off-payroll working in the private sector does come into effect from the 6th of April 2021. So maybe we were all looking and hoping for a deferment of that scheme once again, but that is not the case. So for those of you working in the contracting market space, we need to consider the new rules that come into force for those providing their personal services through an intermediary, where they're providing those services to a medium or large business. The national living wage and the national minimum wage were confirmed, so the changes take place from the 1st of April 2021. So the national living wage will increase by 2.2%, and that becomes £8.91 per hour. What is important to note that this has also been extended to include 23 and 24-year-olds for the first time. For workers aged under 23, the national minimum wage is tiered into different sections. So as an example, The national minimum wage for an under 18 is £4.62. Of course, the apprenticeship wage for the under 19s and those over 19 in their first year of apprenticeship does remain in place, and that is now set at £4.30 per hour. And just to confirm that the van benefit charge for zero rated emission vans has been set, and that has been set at nil. So in 2021, there will be a significant reduction in the benefit in kind for people driving zero emission, i.e. electric vans. Just finally, to cover off personal tax, the personal allowance is currently £12,500, and the Chancellor has announced that this will increase to £12,570 from the 6th of April 2021. Again, this is announced as frozen for the 5-year period, all the way through to the 5th of April 2026. The tax bands and rates have been set. So the basic rate of tax is 20%. This will be through to £50,270 worth of income. Thereafter, the rate of tax remains at 40%, or for income greater than £150,000, there still remains the 45% tax rate. The Chancellor has announced that these bandings will also be frozen through to the 5th of April 2026. And just finally, from a young person's looking to set out on the property ladder point of view, the mortgage guarantee scheme was introduced. This scheme will be introduced from April 2021, and the scheme will provide a guarantee to lenders across the UK who offer mortgages to people who have a 5% deposit on their homes, and this is with a value up to £600,000. So if you have a child that you're looking to get rid of, that is the answer. If there are any questions relating to today, then please do not hesitate to get in touch with us here at Kelesco, and we'll be more than happy to help with you. Thank you ever so much for listening, and wishing you a very happy day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.